Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we're going to go over the Thunder and Bucks game. The Thunder won 116 to 112. It was their final road preseason game of the year. We'll dive into what happened there. We'll talk about why Shea is just looking on another level in this game and just beyond, and what to prepare for in this upcoming season. We'll also talk about the Thunder Big Three being in a league of their own by a new ranking, just kind of on a tier of their own in the Big Three rankings. And then at the end, we'll talk about Brooks Barnhizer and why I think he might and very possibly could be the steal of the draft for the 2025 draft. But first off, just talking about this Thunder Bucks preseason game, it was a very close game all around. We didn't have J-Dub or Chet play, which I thought we might see, so I would assume that we see those two against the Nuggets for the final preseason game back home for the home fans to kind of get that going. But had Shea and a bunch of the bench guys, and really a guy that stood out to me, and I'm excited to see what his season can be, as Isaiah Hartenstein had 13 points, 8 rebounds, hit a 3. So that's something that Hartenstein didn't do at all pretty much last year. So if he can really stretch out and maybe even hit a 1-3 a game and really just keep whoever's guarding him true to the three-point line, that could open up so many more different things. Obviously, you don't want to take that with a grain of salt, because you don't know in regular season wise if he'll actually take that shot. But if there's chances where the centers are tailing off him and let him shoot, and he feels confident enough, and maybe we're in a situation he starts knocking down a couple of those, and then centers have to kind of step up on him, and then that just opens up so much more for the Thunder. So that kind of stood out. Brandon Carlson also had a good game. Obviously, Sam Presti talked about how he can make a big impact for the Thunder, especially with all these injuries early on. Might see Brandon Carlson early on in this season. But the guy to kind of talk about for this game is Shai Gilgeous. In just 20 minutes of play, once again, he had 23 points, 6 assists on 8 for 10 shooting, so shooting 80% from the field, and it just looked too easy out there. Obviously, the Bucks don't have the greatest perimeter defense in the world. They have Giannis, who is an all-world defender, but he's not out there guarding Shai on an island. So Shai was really able to go to work, get 23 points in just 20 minutes, and the big thing is his playmaking skills, his passing is looking a lot better so far, and that's really the one thing outside of maybe, I guess you could say, the three-point shot on his offensive game that was kind of lacking just a little bit, and people are like, if he can get that, it will unleash just a new level of what Shai is capable of. And with what Shai has proven in this offseason and kind of preseason working on that, if Shai can really amp up those passing numbers and really just be a threat, not only from scoring the ball, but now being a above average passer, it could just open up so many more things for the Thunder. And that's what I think a lot of people, when they're going into this year, teams are like thinking about the Nuggets, obviously how much they got better, and they're just not wanting the Thunder to go back to back. A lot of people will forget last year is probably the worst version of the Thunder we'll have for these next few years, because they didn't have the championship under the belt. They were all young, and we still are very young, but now you have that championship edge. You know what it takes to go deep into series against teams that have that championship experience, like the Nuggets, and you go down 2-1 in the Nuggets series and in the Pacers series, and you go to 2-game sevens. That can really teach a team a lot. So when people are talking about how they just don't think the Thunder will do it, I think that last year was probably one of the worst versions we'll see the Thunder for the next 5 years, depending on how they go about it. So this year, I think it can open up so much more. We could have a lot more three-point shooting. Obviously, our defense we're still going to be the best defensive team in the league by far, because last year we were one of the best defensive teams of all time. And for people that want to dispute that, just go look at every single defensive team stat. We were right up there with the Bill Russell Celtics, the Bulls of the past, the 04 Pistons. Like, all these teams you provide with the greatest defense of all time, the Thunder were right up there, if not better, in certain categories. So the Thunder are going to be a force to be reckoned with. Obviously, I still think the Nuggets are going to be a legitimate threat because of how good they are, but people need to realize how much the Thunder will be able to evolve this year and really open up different parts of their game that we'd even see last year. But we'll kind of transition now into talking about the Thunder Big Three, and a list came out ranking every single NBA team's Big Three, and at the top they had the Thunder's Big Three, and they pretty much put in a league of their own, and it pretty much went the Thunder to league of their own, then kind of everybody else under the tiers with them, which makes total sense. You go around and look at the league at some of the big threes. You go to the Lakers with LeBron, Luka, and then you kind of have a small dip off with Reeves. You could even look at the Nuggets with Jokic, Murray, but then you kind of have a smaller drop off with Cameron Johnson, and Cameron Johnson and Murray aren't as good as J-Dub and Chet right now. You might consider Murray better than Chet, but still overall. And you just look at all these big threes that you have out there, including the Rockets and maybe even the Timberwolves with Ant, Cat, and Gobert, and the Knicks with all the OG, Brunson, Cat. Nobody really compares to the Thunder. You have two top 10 players pretty much, which the only other team that you could say that has that is the Lakers. But Chet is by far a better player than Reeves, obviously a much better defender, and I think by the end of this year can be very similar on that offensive level where his defense is just so much better that it's not even that much of a question. So you have Shea up there, you have J-Dub who's right there in that top 10, and now you have Chet. I think just it's pretty easy to say that the Thunder are by far the best trio in the league, and I think it's going to stay like that unless maybe the rumors of Giannis going to the Knicks turns out and he gets traded at the deadline, and then you have Brunson, Giannis, but I feel like at that point they would have to get rid of Karl Anthony Towns to make that work, but that's just kind of me. But I think by far, yeah, the Thunder have the best trio in the league, and I feel like it's not really that close. I feel like they're kind of on a tier of their own, and then it's kind of everybody else. Obviously, if you want to go for duos, yeah, I would think a lot of people would have LeBron, Luka one, and then maybe Shea and J-Dub two, just because of the LeBron, Luka type stature, and then J-Dub not being on that level yet for some people. But overall, for the big three, I think it's without a doubt the Thunder by far. But we'll kind of wrap up this video talking about Brooks Barnhizer and how I think he can really be one of the biggest steals of this draft, and it just really proves how well the Thunder continue to do at drafting. And Barnhizer was obviously a second-round pick. A lot of people were looking towards Thomas Sorber and all of that, and rightfully so, but now obviously that he's injured, Barnhizer has a chance to make a name for himself, and he's really proven a lot. Even in this game tonight against the Bucks, had 10 points, had quite a few assists and rebounds, and his defense is just really improving a lot. They asked Cason Wallace about how they like Brooks as a defender, and he talked about how he plays at 110%. His defense is amazing, and that's what the Thunder want exactly. So he could be a guy, obviously, that's going to go under the radar because you have your big names like Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, Trey Johnson, all these guys who will obviously score more. But overall, with the amount of the effect that he could have on a team, being able to go out there for the Thunder, provide defense, provide good minutes, and get a few buckets for the Thunder, I think here in a few years we could look back and be like, the Thunder got an absolute steal in the second round once again, just pulling out all this. Obviously, we go back to Aaron Wiggins being our biggest second-round pick, being pick number 55. So Brooks Barnhizer can be even somewhat on Aaron Wiggins' level. That would provide the Thunder so much more depth, allow a lot more cap flexibility and all of that stuff. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Barnhizer gets some minutes early on here and kind of progresses throughout the entire season when everybody like Topic and all that start coming back from their injuries. But that'll be it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below. It helps out the channel so much, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.